Good morning. Welcome to Coffee with the Pastor. We're looking at the Gospel of Mark right now in the mornings, taking a few verses each day. And today we're at chapter 7 and verse 14. The context of this is from yesterday, where Jesus' disciples are being criticized because they're not following the traditions, not the Bible, but the traditions that they had set out for ritual hand washing. Again, this is not a hygiene thing. This is a ritual form that they did before eating. They would pour a cup of water on their fingers and let it fall through. It's not the scrubbing that we're supposed to do with soap and water and all that kind of stuff. It was just a ritual thing. And they were being very critical that Jesus' disciples were not very spiritual. They were not really holding to the traditions of their elders of what they're supposed to be doing, because they didn't do that. And Jesus is showing them that, what they're doing. I mean, they're criticizing his disciples for something that's not even in the Bible. And then he shows them where they are going against things that are in the Bible. And he's going to explain it. And it's a great explanation in verse 14. And again, Jesus called the crowd to him and said, "Listen to me, everyone, and understand this. Nothing outside a man can make him unclean by going into him. Rather, it is what comes out of a man that makes him unclean." In other words, Jesus was saying, what you put into your body, what you do on the outside, is not really as important as what comes from within. And after he had left the crowd and entered the house, his disciples asked him about this parable. "Are you so dull?" he asked. He just talks pretty bluntly to his disciples. He just says, "Y'all just dull? Are you just dumb? Don't you see that nothing that enters a man from the outside can make him unclean? For it doesn't go into his heart, but into his stomach, and then out of his body." In saying this, Jesus declared all foods clean. In other words, Jesus didn't buy into all these unclean foods, things like pork. We like our bacon, ham, pork chops, which were detestable to Jews, and they were forbidden to eat them. Catfish, they couldn't eat. All kinds of other foods they couldn't eat that they can now eat. He went on, "What comes out of a man is what makes him unclean. For from within, out of men's hearts, come evil thoughts, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, greed, malice, deceit, lewdness, envy, slander, arrogance, and folly. All these evils come from inside and make a man unclean." Jesus says what goes on inside our hearts. And understand, in Jesus' day, they thought that our thoughts originated from our heart. And so it would be, what are you thinking about on the inside that nobody else knows about? I've often said that if my congregation could read my mind and read all my thoughts, they probably wouldn't come hear me preach. But then I also say, don't get uppity, because if I could read my congregation's thoughts, I probably wouldn't preach to them. We have a battle going on inside of us with our thoughts, keeping our thoughts pure, keeping our lives pure. And Jesus says it's more important what's going on inside of you than what's going on the outside. We know from when David was selected to be the next king, when Samuel anointed him, God had to talk to Samuel, because he was looking for these impressive guys like Saul, who was a head and shoulders above everybody else, a handsome guy. And God told Samuel, you guys look on the outside, but I look on the inside. And the real character that we have is who we are when nobody else is looking. And that's things that we do when nobody else is looking. It's also our thoughts and our inner thoughts that we have. And it's important that those become submitted to God. And we certainly don't want to have it. And he says it's from within were evil thoughts, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, greed, malice, deceit, lewdness, envy, slander, arrogance, and folly. It says all those come from within. And we need to deal with that. Let Jesus deal with that. So today, I give you a pledge and a blessing to deal with your inner life, because that's really where you are as a person. Well, have a great day, and we'll continue chapter 7 tomorrow. Read ahead if you can. Bye now.